Presente po sir, yung wala ako ng bahay. Pero po sa nagkakasin ko kami. Sorry.
Good afternoon, colleagues. We're starting in a few minutes. We're still waiting for other friends to join. So maybe we can take this time to actually grab your coffee, your water, or take the all-important restroom break. We'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you. Nico, can we test your screen share?
Yes, please give me screen sharing rights on the presenter user, please.
Yes, you actually
I
have
have it already.
presenter. Yeah.
Thank you.
Colleagues, this is just a test, yeah? We're not yet starting. We're still waiting for other friends to join. Okay, I think we have it. Can you move the slide, Nico? Great. I think we have it. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Again, friends, we'll start at 3:10 Manila time. Grab the coffee or water or take that all-important restroom. Good afternoon, friends, colleagues. Welcome to the day 2 of our 2-day learning session on Journey Towards Meaningful Connectivity, Exploring Value-Added Services of Community Networks. I am Gomer Padong from the Institute for Social Entrepreneurship in Asia. I'm taking over for just the a small part in moderating this early part of the learning session, as my colleague Sarbani Belur, who is our appointed moderator, is currently experiencing power outage in India. So I'm based in Manila, and again I welcome you to the second half of our learning session. We are broadcasted live using the ISEA Facebook page. Colleagues from ISEA will be pasting the link in the chat box, so you can actually share with your colleagues who might not be able to join us this afternoon. So for this afternoon, we will be featuring community networks from Thailand, from India, and from we also have another speaker from the Association of Progressive Communications who shall be sharing some value-added services of community networks under their project. I'd like to invite Kun Nisarat Tansakul. Kunni is actually part of the Thai Network Information Center Foundation, where she is the community relations manager. She also works for the Internet Education Research and Laboratory, or Interlab, at the Asian Institute of Technology in Thailand, where she performs various roles as help desk manager, lab manager, technical coordinator. And for this afternoon, Kun Nisarat will be sharing their value-added services with the community network called Net to Home. Kunni, over to you.
Thank you, Uma. Okay, let me start my, let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, let me start. Thank you, Kuma, for introduction. So, as Kuma mentioned earlier, that I'm a project manager of the Net to Home, the community network in Thailand. We have working on the community network since 2013. So currently, until as of July, our network is have 50 active communities, and also have ever served more than 500 households to be able to connect to internet. And few of them, when they have enough efforts, they move out from our Net to Home to the commercial ISP. As of July, is around 100 plus. And currently, our community is based on 14 community in Tak Province in the north of Thailand, and also 1 community in Chiang Mai, and 3 community in Suphanburi, and 1 community in Bangkok. So let me give a brief detail about our technology that we use. We are using the DAMONet, the research that it have done by Interlab AAT, and this is the emergency network that they use the mobile ad hoc network to be make the disaster network. So it will be moving and can be lost or can be forming the network automatically when it's come to the area that they found another node. So this is the concept of the disaster network. So we Interlab made this research since 2006 after the tsunami hit Thailand. So when after that we are trying to use this network to apply in other when it has disaster. We are trying to introduce this network to be used after when post disaster. But at that time, everyone in rush, so they don't want to learn the new technology. So we are trying to make the technology closer to the people, the villagers. So we apply Dumbo to the TACnet as a wireless community network. We starting this one on 2013 by using the one village in the TAC province to make like the showcase, the first village. So we are we have deployed 14 access router as a mobile router and trying to connect them to the internet gateway. And after that, we found that this one can be used, and people in the village know more. They have more opportunity to connect to the internet. So here is the device that we used on 2013. And after we start in 2013, more village is in when they saw the villagers saw the first community that have this kind of technology or the community network here. They are interesting to have their own community. So we are trying to find the sustainability that we have we made the target model on 2016 to be able to long-term sustainable. So we have Interlab as a research unit that the Interlab will make the research and produce the new product and service and give to the net to home and THNIC Foundation to be on site and help the people to deploy the network. And also we need the people from the local community to be a part of the community network. So net to home and THNIC Foundation will communicate with the local community. We are trying to find the local technician to be able a part of the community network. So when anything happen, they can maintain and deploy their own network. And Interlab still have help to support in terms of technical because we can monitor the network from Bangkok, so they can help to support the local technician. So after experience, when we are on the side of the village, we found that in the village we should have some value added to be used the benefit of the community network in the local, in the village. So we are trying to add the service on our network. So after our experience, when we talk and we are on site, we found that in the village, mostly of the villagers are farmers. They are rice farmer, they are corn farmer, and something more. And also when they have the product, they have some resources that they didn't use much. So we found that this is a gap that we should try to use the benefit of the resources that the community can share among their community members. So we are starting to make like the platform we call the platform called Bang Pan is the Northern Thai language. That it means sharing. So Bang Pan is the resource sharing system that we deploy inside the village. And after that, we expand more from Bang Pan local inside. We are connecting Bang Pan to outside from one village to another village and the user in the internet. And also we also have the service like IoT service that air quality sensor to monitor the air quality in the village. So let me go to the first one. This is a Bang Pan sharing resource sharing system that is will. This one is to be a mobile application that we made that is can be run on the villager mobile that will be support Thai language and also English language, and this one will help the villager to be trading among the community member and also have some the feature that they can chat and communicate. And this system will use the credit. It will be the cashless. So it will like the two community member, they will have an agreement to make the credit and they can exchange the resource and without paying the money, but the system will record like a digital ledger. So we make like a distributed ledger service. So we deploy the small equipment that like a Raspberry Pi. We deploy Raspberry Pi in some node of our mobile of our Wi-Fi router that we already deploy in the village. And this one will help to record the transaction, but we are using the characteristic of the blockchain system that because it's related with the money, right? So it should be it's like a digital ledger. It should be more secure that the villager can touch that no one cannot edit. No one can edit. Sorry, no one can edit their transaction or their ledger. So we use a private blockchain system that they are deployed in the community network. And this platform will be help the villager to be exchange product and service within the community. As I mentioned, that is highly secure because it is a distributed ledger service. So if one of Raspberry Pi broken, it will be reconstructed and query from another Raspberry Pi to be restored the ledger. So because the data is split and saved in multiple nodes. So but this is the behind that villager may no need to understand about this, but they just be more sure that the ledger is more secure. So after we deploy this system inside the village, we are trying to train the villagers that how to use, and we are let them to bring their product and try to take photo and post in the system and try to make the credit and exchange the product and service. So after we got the local digital ledger inside, we found that in the village, they also have the product that then they don't want only share inside their community. They want to share their product to outside. So we are making the platform that is also used the Bang Pan, but this one will be the gateway that connect the local system, local Bang Pan system to be on the internet. So the product that the villager have in the local can be shown online on the platform, and the people from outside can access via bangpan.in.th, or it can be accessed in Thai URL that bangpan.thai. So this one will help to connect the community market to outside, and it can help this will create the less representative of the store. For example, in the village, not all villagers that want to sell, want to be able to communicate with the outside, they may have one volunteer that can collect the product and help them to be selling and communicate to the community outside. So it's like a less representative store to be held in the village. So here is a sample of the screenshot that on the bankpan.in.th. So and a sample of the product that is be able to buy online. And another thing that we also have the IoT equipment that the real-time air quality monitoring. So we in the lab have made the sensor as air quality sensor that able to measure PM 2.5, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and also the temperature and humidity. So we are bring this sensor to be deployed in the village as well. We have deployed, I think in the village, almost all village, we have at least one in park, at least one sensor near inside the park province. So we can access the online data and we can see, because in that area because they have like a farmer and they always have the problem with the air quality that I think is around February until May, the season in park, then they will have like more PM, higher PM 2.5. So this one can help them to monitor and awareness that they should do something to protect their health. So after we deploy this one, we got one case that the villagers found that they have the fire nearby the one node of our sensor, and our system can be detect this fire. So they can go on time and try to do something that to let the fire not go closer to the village. So this is the benefit that the villagers can get from the sensor that we have deployed in the village. So the next that we are interesting for the smart community in the village, that we are focusing on the community safety, as we on site that we discussed with the villager. They found that they are concerned about the safety. Some like a motorcycle or something, that some tool for the farm had been stolen. So they want to have something that can help them to monitor. So at the beginning, we thought that what we can try to do is like we can do like a community CCTV, but it's only it's no need to use the internet to be outside, because just the villager, they can help to monitor the safety in the public area of their village, and maybe something else that can help for their safety life. So we are interested on this, and we may try to working on this. Okay, that is all from me. Any question?
Thank you, Kunni. We can take two questions for Kunni before we go on to the next speaker. or you can reserve your questions at the end of the session. We have an hour open forum by the end of the session, but those who would like to ask burning questions or those who are leaving earlier, maybe you can ask your question now to Kunni. Maybe no questions yet at this time, Kunni. They're still digesting your presentation. Oh, we have Ruth Nigeri, one of our colleagues. Go ahead, Ruth.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Ruth Njeri. I'm from Kenya. I work for a community network by the name TNET Community Network. This community network of ours is in a slum, Kibera slum in Nairobi. And we would maybe want to deploy such a method in our location. But now there's an issue of theft where you find that if you deploy these wireless radios, when we are connecting our clients in the community, they are being stolen. So if we were to deploy an air quality sensor from our side, how do you mitigate security of these equipments? How do you make sure that they are safe wherever you have deployed them? Because we would want to do a similar thing, but now we have issues of security. So how do you mitigate that from your area? Thank you.
Yeah, from our case, we also worry about the place that we deploy. As on my slide, the one that sensor that detect the fire nearby, that one is deployed a little bit far from the resident area of the village, but is near the farm area of our villager, one of our villager. So in this case, we have to talk with the villager where is the location that interesting to deploy the sensor, and also it can be not stolen. So actually we are interesting to deploy in another point. I mean, their farm have like a rectangle, right? They said if we deploy in the entrance, they will have the people to bypass, so they can help to monitor that equipment is still there. And if we are deployed at the end of their farm, is no one pass by. So we got recommend from the villager is they sell that to choose the location that can be a little bit more safe. And for other side, that other sensor we deploy nearby the like village hall. So there is some people pass by also, and some not. We deploy in our the villager member that deploy our router, so it can be monitored by the owner of the house. So this is what we are doing. So actually our sensor is not that big, but for Thailand case, maybe they don't know that it have the value or not. So the no one stole that one. So it's lucky for us. So no sensor loss for now. Yes.
Yes. No sensor lost for now. I guess it takes a village, no? In our case, it takes a community to actually safeguard all these gadgets and all these devices being deployed in the community, and it's always an effort to secure all of this because it matters for the community as well. There is a question in the chat. Kunni, can you provide some data on the number of farmers that are taking advantage of the resource sharing and online community market and the volume of transactions?
The community market that we just starting to launch the community market. So now we are trying to asking more members, for more producer to be put their product on the platform, and for the resource sharing. For the resource sharing, we are trying, we need to deploy the Raspberry Pi inside the village. So not much user that using in that one, because they it's like new for them. We are trying to teach them slowly to be used to with our system.
Okay. Great. That's good, Kunni Sarat. Any more questions or insights or comments? Of course, Kunni Sarat will still be here until the end of the session, so you can still ask questions to her regarding her presentation regarding Net to Home Community Network of Thailand. Again, thank you, Kunni Sarat, and maybe at this point we move on to our second presenter this afternoon. We have with us Dr. Rajashri Joshi, who is the Program Director at BAIF Development Research Foundation. Rajashri has over 15 years of experience in the development sector with a focus on rural and tribal development. She has a master's degree in rural and urban community development from the Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Mumbai. She has also a doctorate of philosophy in economics and rural development from the Savitribai Phule Pune University, and her bachelor's degrees in economics from the University of Mumbai. May I call on Dr. Rajashri Joshi?
Mr. Gomer, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay.
We can hear you very well.
Yes. Just one second.
Yes, maybe we can mute the other devices, Dr. Joshi.
Yeah. Is that better now?
We'll mute it from our end. Okay, I think this is better. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Mr. Goma, for that introduction, and happy to be here on this kind of discussion, which is on very important topic. And as guided by Dr. Sarbani, I will be talking about the overall community network effort that was introduced in BIAF, and I will be talking about some of the learnings and also best practices that have emerged. So I will be sharing a PowerPoint presentation. Just one second. Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yes, your screen is visible. We'd appreciate it if it's on full screen. Yes, there you go.
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe I will switch off. Yeah, okay. So this journey started way back in 2019, and in collaboration with Association for Progressive Communication, APC, and IIT Bombay, and Dr. Sarbani Banerjee, who is the Asia Regional Coordinator for APC and Senior Research Scientist at IIT Bombay. She was instrumental in introducing BIAF to this wonderful initiative. So through this initiative, we have been able to introduce 4 types of interventions covering online and offline connectivity. and that where we have introduced set of interventions. The first intervention that we could introduce, and that has become kind of our star intervention, is the cadre of e-dost. So what is this e-dost? So the moment we got this connectivity, so let me tell about the setting where we introduced this connectivity. So these are the remote tribal villages and hamlets called Pathardi, which are like from block place also. These are 15 kilometers away, and these are remote and hilly regions and totally geographically isolated. So this area did not have any connectivity, and although some of the towers were there, those were not functional, and the people were really having this connectivity only as a dream. So with this APC project, some connectivity efforts were started, and online offline connectivity was provided, and through that we could introduce the EDOS cadre. These EDOS are the young digital catalyst, and these are essentially tribal girls between the age of 20 years to 35 years. And they were having some minimum literacy and minimum education. So they were mobilized, and using the connectivity, they started providing various digital services to the villagers of these hamlets. And this has now, like, the cadre was developed, the training was given, the Aadhaar enabled payment mode was introduced using connectivity, and the devices were given to them, and through that and through smartphones they started providing various services to the villagers which were not getting services. So this is a doorstep delivery of various demand based services, and there is an incentive mechanism that has also been developed so that it becomes sustainable also, and various value added services they are providing, including the that also leads to cash recycling. So this is basically an example of how the connectivity can be harnessed for development, and what are the various services that they are providing. And this is also engaging with the youth, because these are all young tribal, and this is a perfect example how inclusive this project can be. So various type of services that they could provide is money withdrawal through Aadhaar enabled payment system, money transfer, account balance checking, mini statement, mobile recharge, electricity bill. So all of these, the doorstep, that girl could go. Sometimes she used to go alone, sometimes with her husband. So, but she was very well versed with the hamlets and the habitations that is there, so she could go house to house. Apart from that, we have also introduced later on some of the e-governance services, because even government has started many services in e-governance mode. So various of those government schemes we started providing, and the people were not aware. Otherwise, many of them are a hand to mouth situation, and the any application they have to go to government offices, their entire day will go waste, and that will have impact on their wages also. Daily wage earners, majority of them were daily wage earners or working as agricultural laborers, so they could not afford spending the entire day. So this e-governance facility, through the EDOS, they started getting various of those government schemes also. They understood the eligibility for those schemes, and certain other utility services like e-commerce, like Flipkart, AgroStar. So various daily needs and the farming related equipments input that started providing and placing order through this thing. So these are the various kind of services that we have planned. Financial services, also life skills, survey and mapping. So these are future use. So far we have not started, but looking at the kind of expertise that these people have, on ground presence, and the skills that they have, maybe they will be able to work as animators, and also can have work as ears and eyes on ground for many data collectors also. E-governance, literacy education, and e-commerce. So what apart from this, so what is the uniqueness of this is women first approach. The entirely e-dost we call, a dost means friend. Dost is a Hindi word which means friend. So he is a kind of digital sakhi kind of thing, and digital friend who can provide. But these are all women, low investment in livelihoods, because the overall investment was pretty small, and during that has helped them earning their livelihoods. So recently we have done survey, and as low as 2000, the new EDOs, as low as rupees 2000 per month to as high as 15,000 rupees per month. That is the kind of livelihood they or income they were able to earn. And this is a supplementary income, because all these years these women were not really contributing to the overall income of household, but now they have got a dignity also and acceptance also. So this is an enterprise mode, so it is self-sustainable because financial incentives are also there. Quick payback period is also there. So we are now in a mode to scale up. Initially very few digital sakhis or EDOs were there, but now looking at this model, which is very very convincing model, and which is a gap, it is trying to address that gap of providing digital services at the grassroots level or doorstep. Now we are able to scale it up to 150 EDOs across India now, in many other states as well. In Jawahar itself, where we have started, we have 72 EDOs now. And then there are other inquiries also. So this has kind of helps addressing. And then there are some videos which you can access on YouTube. Some write-up is also there on BIF website. So of what are the learnings? So apart from EDOs, there are other interventions, like we have also started e-commerce website. The lot of community based products are there, especially from these tribal areas. The millets are there now. This is the international year of millets, and many urbanites, they are craving or they want to purchase this organic produce, but they don't have any kind of knowledge about from where to procure. So we could start an e-commerce portal also, and through that a catalog has been prepared and displayed over there along with the price, and the option for going online and purchasing online is also there. So this has also helped creating market place for various produce that is available in these remote tribal areas, and anybody who is willing to buy it can it for convenience for him also. One more important aspect that we could develop is a knowledge sharing platform. So what is this knowledge sharing platform? So that was offline mode also, where lot of traditional wisdom is there, like local healers are there, or local the vaidus are there, or healers are there. And also the people have a tremendous knowledge about agro biodiversity. They have traditional dances, art and craft related things. So all of the festivals, and then like plant related knowledge. So all of that we could natural history we could document and put it on a knowledge sharing platform. Some songs were also there. So all of that has been put on a knowledge sharing platform, and that is also through community radio. The broadcasting is possible. So those are the other applications. And for collecting data also, we could use a open source software called EpiCollect, which is available on mobile phone. So and so all of that, I think it's a very good model where data could be collected using connectivity, captured well, it is stored now, and that is made available in public domain also, and it can be made for the benefit of community also through community radio. So it's a very good example of networking as well. So these are some of the examples, and we are also learning in the process. But what are some the connectivity should be affordable. In general, our learnings are, it cannot be very very top heavy or capital intensive. So it has to be affordable, it has to be sustainable, because if only project specific, then sustainability is kind of question, and for that it is very necessary to have financial incentives, make a revenue based models so that it can continue on its own. Gender inclusive, because everybody is talking about digital divide, be it urban rural or be it male versus female. So I think it is very has to be gender inclusive. So those cadre especially has shown how to make it gender inclusive, empowering, definitely, because the movement now ethos itself has got so much of dignity, acceptance from their home front, also from their villages. And I think the connectivity we have to put for proper use for achieving the goal of rural development. So these are some of the examples, but we would like to harness this more. So I think this was my last slide. I will stop here and happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Joshi. Do we have questions from the participants in the call?
May I?
Yes. It's okay. We have G2, one of our colleagues from Bangladesh, and then we have Lisa. G2, over to you.
Thank you, Gomar. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Joshi, for your beautiful presentation. It was very helpful as we could actually relate to your context. So I'm from Foundation of Architecture and Community Equity, and we are working with ICEA on a project here in Cox's Bazar. As you know, we had issue going on in our country, which is Rohingya issue, and our communities are just beside the Rohingya communities. We call them Rohingya host communities. And now we are working with women who make their own craft from natural material and recycled materials that are found just nearby their villages. And with our project in ICEA, we are trying to set up network in their villages so that they could communicate with the designers and the buyers directly without any intermediate. So I just wanted to ask you about this e-DOS service. So I see there's a possibility that we could apply a similar approach in our villages with our communities too, because we are mostly working with women. All of our craftsmen are women. And since we are working with a conservative community, they feel hesitant to work with males. So it would be better if the e-dots are female in our community. But the problem we're facing in doing so is that our craftsmen are barely educated. They can't even read or write. And their knowledge of technology and even mobile lies into a very limited portion. They call their phone as button phones and the smartphones as touch phones because they can touch it and they can't really use them. So how do you suggest that if we wanted to apply an approach like e-DOS, how would we be able to mobilize that? And how do we make it sustainable?
Okay, so Jakiat, I will try to respond. I would also request Sarbani, Dr. Sarbani, to come here based on her experience also. But I feel how to make it sustainable. So we are experiencing without any project support, we are growing in terms of numbers. So sustainability is because there is a financial incentive. And for financial incentive, we have to keep on adding various services. And these services are paid services because these are very, very beneficial for the users. So that is the thing. Now, education, I do understand it is a constraint, but I think the technology has shown the way again, how to overcome that also. So, because then there are so many other services like there are YouTubes. From YouTube's also one can learn, and these are complete audio visuals. So those type of things are there. Even if they are not able to type, I think they can speak and they can record certain questions, so those can be posed then, even if that option is also there nowadays. So even if learning can be through audio visuals, I think a lot of those sites are there. even hacks are there, simple like cooking. All of us, like, we are also seeing Russian salad, even if we don't read Russian, but we understand what are the ingredients they are using, and like what is the process. So I think the technology has shown how to overcome that as well. But I would request Dr. Sarbani also if she has any point to add here.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Joshi, and sorry everyone that I couldn't come. So this Zakia, that you just mentioned about asking, you asked about sustainability. I should tell you that the project, the ethos, the model has become sustainable in itself. The reason being that first it was scaled up. Actually, it was scaled up. We had initially we set up 5 ethos, which became 10 or 15, and then now we have 72 or more than 72 ethos all across India. Yeah, in the locations that IF is working. But what happened is that the ethos themselves became a small self-help group, women's self-help group in itself. And they started having arranging funds for themselves, and every month they pay 100 rupees. They are accumulating that money, and then when women need some money from one of the ethos, need some money like for buying mobile ATM, for example, or some small things, then they will get that as a loan from that self-help group itself. So I think that is the way by which the entire initiative has been sustainable in itself. And the second thing, what Dr. Joshi also mentioned, is that it has diversified. Initially, we gave training as part of the network, community network initiative. We gave training to Anjali Tai, who is the first ethos of ours, for only money withdrawal, cash withdrawal, and looking into the bank account for the status. Okay. But then over time, she herself identified ways by which she can diversify that process. So what she did is that she brought in mobile recharge facilities in the village itself, paying electricity bill, then IRCTC booking, booking of bus tickets, train tickets, and everything. And then slowly, she herself diversified into now online marketing. So, Amazon, so people can't do the shopping online, but she helps for the women in the community. So she orders for all the women and they pay her money and she brings. So, see slowly how things have initially it just began with the bank transaction, but then slowly she herself diversified the activities that can be done. And Dr. Joshi might have also mentioned about the other ethos that also work on sort of becoming, they have a printer, they have purchased a printer. BIF itself has given printing machine. So a small printer and a scanner. So where people can come over there and they can follow all the activities that they have to do, like for printing and scanning, they don't have to go to some very far away places. And then she only enables some of the e-governance services in the village. So that is how the services are being sustainable. And I think the initiative has also become a sustainable initiative in itself. Yeah, that's right.
Sure.
Thank you for the answer, Dr. Sarbani. So I had, I had another question that just adds up to this. I was very curious about the training that you provided initially to the ethos and about their educational background, because now we are trying to provide training to young adults and young girls, they still go to school, but as you know, in the communities we work with, the thing happens that they get married and they leave their village. And so what we think is it would be better if we could somehow train the women who are staying in the villages as wives rather than giving training to the daughters. But in most of the cases, the wives are a bit older and they have a bit difficult time catching up to the technology and all the network issues. So how did you provide your trainings to the EDOS? And if you have any insights on the issue as well.
Yeah, so what you said, we have also followed. We have, rather than a girl who will get married and move to other village, we have preferred, there are criteria set up for those selection. And one of the criteria is also it's better if she is married and newly married and coming to that village, so that she will stay and maybe her husband will, because even they cannot drive two-wheelers. So sometimes the husband and family members are also helping us in terms of mobility. So that is definitely a criteria. And I would also like to respond to Christina's question. Have you encountered any security issue? So yes, I mean, there are such examples or experiences, but the kind of things are evolving, and there is a cross learning sharing that is happening. Continuous capacity building of those ethos is also happening. And because the moment you talk about online, I think the frauds are also there. So but the capacity building is the key for that. And also cash handling, so there is a issue of trust also, not only security but also kind of trust, cash handling. But I think that also is something that our ethos have been able to overcome that part also. Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Lisa has been raising her hand as well
Yes.
earlier. Yes.
Yeah, I just like to have
Lisa.
a follow-up question to the question of
G2.
G2, yeah, about the model of the EDOS. I'm not clear whether the EDOS is a person or a self-help group, because Sarbani did say that they become self-help groups. And the other is, what is the ratio of the number of users to each EDOS to be sustainable? Because you've said that it has you have replicated and all that, but you know, there is a sustainability factor here that needs to be reached, right? So how many in your studies, or in the, as you've replicated them in more than 70 or 150, you now have 70 or 150 EDOS all over India. What is the ratio in terms of the number of users and the EDOS?
Yeah, I think, Lisa, it's a very important question. Sarbani, would you like to take this? And yeah.
Yes, thank you, Lisa, for asking. So first of all, ethos is a person.
Okay.
So ethos is a person.
How is that related to the self-help group?
Yeah. So when they reached a critical mass in a particular location, so 15 women became ethos. So first it was 5 and then it became 10. So now these 15 women who became ethos, they became a self-help group.
Okay.
For themselves, and then they started collecting money, and that's how the entire process is being a sustainable model in itself. So that's the first thing. The second thing that you asked was on the ratio. Yeah. So the villages here in Maharashtra or in India, they are usually not concentrated in one location. So like the hamlets are very segregated from each other. It's distributed. Scattered. Yes, it's scattered. So like the distance between one hamlet and the other can sometimes become, so it can become a 2.5-hour trek or a 3-hour trek to the next hamlet. And that's what I have done actually. So from one hamlet to the next hamlet, if you have to go, it is sometimes a 3-hour trek. So it is that far, you can imagine. So the EDOs are usually concentrated on one particular hamlet. And if there is hamlets that are close by to each other, then that one particular EDOs, she takes up at least 2 or 3 hamlets in itself. So they cater to the needs of those hamlets, which is around 700 to 800 population size.
Per
Right.
hamlet?
And
Yes.
Is that per hamlet?
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
But you know, these are scattered and also these are sparsely populated.
Yes.
So rather than that ratio, it is also the number of services they are providing
Yes.
to a family. So that is why we are saying we need to keep on adding various services so that there is a critical mass in terms of the cash paid. She is being paid. Yeah.
So how many services? I mean, how many? So I'm trying to imagine
Yeah.
EDOS to be sustainable and to be, so she can earn enough so that it becomes sustainable for her as an activity. How many transactions does she need to do per day?
Because when you are saying viability, as I said, the investment is anyway less. So it doesn't, we cannot compare it with investment because anyway it's a very small investment. So as I said, from 2,000 rupees to 15,000 rupees. So the people who are getting 15,000 rupees are providing multiple services apart from banking, like withdrawal, balance checking. So they are doing e-ticket booking. Also, they are linking them to government schemes, e-governance.
Is that per day?
No.
2,000 to 15,000 rupees, is that
Per month.
Okay. And the per month, how many services does that translate to? I mean, how many services did they provide so that they can earn this much?
So like that, it varies, no? Like Dr. Sarbani said, have some of them also started printer now, Xeroxing. So that will have different type of charges. For e-ticketing, charges will be different. For linking them to government schemes and job cards, getting job cards, or the land records, the charges are different. So
okay, can I just ask then, what is the range of service fees do they charge per service? Just the range. You have different services, right? So per service, what is the lowest that they charge for one service? And what's the highest that they charge for any type of service that they
Dr.
provide?
Sarbani, can you take this?
So it is for 10 rupees, it is 100 rupees, it is 5 rupees. For 100 rupees, it is 5 rupees. For cash withdrawal, 100, if they withdraw 100 rupees from their bank account, so it is 105 rupees.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
So that is the transaction that they do. Then it depends on mobile recharge. Now in mobile recharge, again, if they do a per day recharge, which is of lower denomination, then they will charge less. If it is higher, it is more. So that is there. The e-governance services that is enabled, the government of India has its own rates, stipulated rates for e-governance services, like domicile certificate, caste certificate, marriage certificate, birth certificate, death certificates. So it has, for each of these certificates, the government of India has a fixed rate for each of these certificates, which ranges from 50 rupees to 200 rupees. So it depends. It depends on the rates, and they also take these rates. The EDOS, they also charge the same rates for the people in the village.
So they charge the rate on top of the government rate?
No.
So
they will charge for e-governance services. They will use the stipulated rate by the government, because they can't charge more than that, and people will not pay. So that's there. But along with BIF, they have made a rate chart for the other services like the mobile recharge, paying electricity bill, booking tickets on the portal of the government of India. Then what else? Amazon shopping. Now this is something new that has come up, and so for that they charge. It is based on rates that they have decided along with buyers, but it changes from place to place. And larger hamlets have larger number of services, and smaller hamlets have lesser number of services.
Thank you very much. Sorry for all the detailed questions.
Oh, it's good. It's good. I'm very happy to answer questions on those. Yes.
Thank you. Of course, I shall be turning over the facilitation to Sarbani later. And we still have Dr. Joshi until the end of the session. So you can still engage with her in the chat box or even in the open forum after our next presenter. But before we move to the next presenter, I'd like to ask everyone to open your cameras so that we can have a photo session now before we go to the third speaker. Bads, can you help us in?
Yeah, may we request everyone to open their cameras, please?
There you go. I can see everyone. Hi, Sylvia. Hi, Christy. Hi, G2.
Okay, ready everyone? First page. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Let's go to the next page. Keep on smiling,
Hold
everyone.
that smile. Hold that smile.
1, 2, 3. Smile. Great. Thank you, everyone. Oh, I guess we need to take another shot because some just came into with their cameras. So 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, great. I think at this point, I'll pass it on to Sarbani to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Goma. It's my pleasure to introduce you, Nicolas Pache. He is based out of Argentina, and he's one of our colleagues at the Association for Progressive Communications at the LockNet project of ours. We work together on the work package 4, which is on technological development. We look at foundational technologies, frugal technologies, and it is nice that Nico is there along with us today here to talk about the LockNet initiative of APC and the work that we do on frugal technologies at the work package 4 of ours, as well as he will give us a brief insight into the value-added services that the community network peers in Latin America work on. So over to you, Nico. I know, Nico, it's very early in the morning for you, and I'm extremely sorry for calling you this early in the morning. Thank you. Nico?
Thank you, Sarbani. I think you hear me, now you can see me too. It's not only early in the morning, but also there's a power outage here, so you can see me with my emergency lighting here. I will turn off my cameras because to save a little bit of battery, and I will start sharing my screen. One second.
Thank you.
Okay, you should be seeing my screen. There you go.
Yes.
Okay, so on the 15 minutes that we have, I will be sharing with you a brief introduction of the work that the LockNet team has been doing around value-added services. We will also be talking about meaningful connectivity and what it means, the conversations that have been around this, and why we feel it's relevant to keep reflecting about this concept and how this affects the way we think about this from the communities. I will then share a few examples that will show some of the findings that we have had across the years that we have been working on this, and some of the takeaways. So first, an introduction. I'm part of this LockNet initiative. This is a joint effort between the Association for Progressive Communications and Rhizomatica, that for the last 5 years has been working on creating an enabling environment for community networks, facilitating training and mentorship for communities, creating an enabling policy and regulatory environment, and working on gender and women participation aspects, as well as supporting grassroots organizations to define and shape their local services and digital technologies, in particular in relation to value-added services. So these 5 years of work around this topic have taken us to collaborate with a wide number of organizations in different parts of the world. We work with organizations in partnership with organizations from Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. In this experience, we have learned together about what local services means for local communities. Also, it is important to always remember that we have gone through a global pandemic, and this global pandemic has helped us realize or strengthen our understanding of the importance of community-centered connectivity and the need for local services that meet specific needs of and the priorities of communities. So in these 5 years of experience, as I was saying, we have, now that we have gone through these years, we have now started reflecting about the work that we have been doing in innovation, and I want to share some of our findings with you. First, about the concept of meaningful connectivity. And we want to talk a little about what there is beyond connectivity. So around the world, there have been multiple initiatives that have explored meaningful connectivity as a concept to define what happens, what needs to be provided, or what communities need from the internet. We feel that in general there is a lack of centering the local definition of meaning with the community in the center. To be more specific about the shortcomings that we see in the meaningful connectivity conceptualization, one of the elements is that it has been mostly top-down. The current definition of meaningful connectivity are guided by top-down mechanisms which do not adequately capture the community-centered perspectives. Grassroots communities have strong understanding of what is meaningful or valuable to them, and their definition of meaning should be the starting point. The lack of community input, where the current definitions sometimes do not involve the participation of communities in defining what is meaningful or valuable in terms of connectivity, and this results in a disconnect between the global definitions and the actual needs or priorities of the communities. Then the narrow focus on technical aspects. Most of the meaningful connectivity conversations have focused primarily on technical aspects, such as whether there are devices available in the community, how much the quality of the broadband connectivity, if it is affordable or not. while these are relevant and important aspects we consider, they do not address the broader cultural, historical, and social aspects that are crucial for connectivity to be truly meaningful for a population. It also ignores or tends to ignore the local production of knowledge. The current definitions overlook the importance of valuing the local production of knowledge, understanding of the world, sorry, and ways of life in the communities. Meaningful connectivity should go beyond incorporating new customers into the digital economy and instead focus on strengthening local economies and culture. And the lack of recognition of indirect contributions. The current definition fails to recognize the definitions fail to recognize the indirect contributions that underserved communities provide to the economy. A revision of appropriate measures is needed to consider these contributions and take them into account when defining meaningful connectivity. So in relation to what meaningful connectivity should be from a community-oriented perspective, it is actually from the grassroots communities that we need to think it. They have an understanding of what they need, what is valuable to them, and we should start from there. And well, this involves beyond basic connectivity and providing benefits to the community through local services. So, and as I was saying throughout the previous slides, valuing local production and local production of knowledge. So let me share this process has helped us identify, categorize in a way the different types of value-added services that we have found throughout the years by partnering with these organizations that I have been mentioning to you. Different groupings of kinds of value-added services that you can find, and I brought to you some examples from the Latin American context, so you can also get inspired by people that might not be at your it's easier to reach from your region or from your time zone even. So first, one of the elements has been to document and share existing knowledge and practices of the community for the local benefit. Examples include sharing of audiovisual or traditional or other traditional health workers, the mapping of the biodiversity and plants, monitoring of the environment and related threats, as we heard earlier from my colleagues in the previous presentations, the preservation and active use of local languages and cultural expressions, or contact brokering of local professionals. And in many cases, the added value of such data and content gathering is immediate when ways are found to manage and share the data within the community. An example of this can be found in the village of Moinho in Brazil, where the community network there, Moinho Mesh, has created a community portal where they share the location and trades within their own village in order for the community to get to better know the local economy, and in doing so enriching the local economy by using the local services instead of relying on services from other communities. Then providing information and learning formats that were created outside. The most prominent examples are digitized school curriculum, further educational content, and local hosted e-learning platforms or encyclopedias. We have seen this through the COVID pandemic too, where locally hosted educational services have served the communities to access educational services, even though we were in a lockdown, a global lockdown. Other examples like healthcare information, online methodologies or tools for more sustainable agriculture and farming also fit this category, as well as all kinds of other community relevant content. Those services respond to the digital right of universal access, but they offer a community-driven solution. Instead of lobbying for fast connectivity to huge cloud servers, they consider the local hosting of relevant content, which is curated and managed locally. And one really concrete example of this has been the Hnoptic Intrabatch project in Chiapas, Mexico, where a secondary school professor has been supporting schools all across the state to locally host educational content for the students, where connectivity, sorry, where connectivity access is lacking, but through these local hosted services, they have the possibility to access the educational content at a high speed with no cost, with no extra cost. And then the creation of community content, new communication formats, and other tools, which bring us to a third need set. It is important to mention that the scope of content goes way beyond journalistic and educational formats. In a way, the documentation of existing and putting emphasis on creating and making new things for it. So becomes apparent from that the current content definition is a too narrow category. New implies here not a creation from scratch, but rather a real assemblage of established practices like analog elements that might have created or community radio might already exist, and digital formats provided by the local infrastructure. For example, an audio repository for local storytellers. And to bring you an example from the Latin American region, this is a social exchange, a local exchanges platform from Colombia, where villagers are, and it's also it's complemented by a time bank. So you can trade elements that you produce or that you have and you don't need, and you want to, for them to be shared. And instead of using a fiat currency, you can use time as the currency. So you can exchange, you can value your resources that you want to exchange in the time or effort that has taken to produce them, or that you value them, and use the time also to receive, for example, support in your agriculture needs or at home, or any other kind of time-based trade. And then there are meaningful, I don't have a concrete example from Latin America, but also wanted to mention the meaningful extensions, federations, cooperations with other actors, like, for example, e-governance services, like what Sarvani was mentioning, that is key for community underserved communities where digital literacy is also a challenge. With this, I want to close with some takeaways. As a brief of what I have been sharing, community-centered connectivity requires going beyond basic connectivity and providing meaningful benefits to the community through local services and digital technologies that are designed to meet the specific needs of grassroots communities. And the value will not come because of outside infrastructure coming in to deliver connectivity for the sake of consumerism, but from the communities themselves and through their own agency. that would be more or less it. Thank you very much, and you can always reach me over email, and I'm happy to share any further through your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Nico, for that nice presentation. I'll ask the audience if there are any questions. You can directly ask Nico. So the time that people are taking to sort of frame their questions in their mind. It will be interesting, Nico, if you can talk a little more about how value-added services are different in internet settings and intranet settings. So perhaps that could also be that could be a good learning experience for our community network peers, the new ones that are coming up, to understand the value-added services and its relevance in offline and online settings. If you can tell a little more about it.
Sure, Sarvani.
Yeah.
Do you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. I can briefly say that the challenges of the local service that is connected to the internet and or not connected to the internet vary as the when a network is connected to the internet, it has an overabundance of service offering from far away. So there's no boundaries that can be set from the community that that differentiate the local services from the global internet. This is an interesting element because this is something that we speak very little of. We usually see the internet as a transformative and massive, like Alexandra library, like global library of knowledge, and it is so, but it also has potential really harmful effects in rural communities, including cultural and social alienation, exposure to harmful content, financial and social scams, and opinion manipulation, attention and relationship problems, individualization, and so many other challenges that come with the internet. So some communities have chosen not to be connected to the internet, for example, as Sarvani is mentioning. Having the chance to connect to the internet, they have chosen not to connect to the internet and explore connectivity and digital services from an offline setting. Cases of these are the Wixárika indigenous community in Mexico, where they preferred to set up a local traditional culture sharing platform where they host assets of their culture for them to be able to curate them and access them easily from their local setting without being connected to the internet. Sorry about that. And the other example that I can give you is the Guarani indigenous community in Brazil, a village in the south of Brazil, that they decided to, instead of not being connected to the internet, they decided to put filters on the access to the internet. Community level filters where they instead of connecting to the wide internet, they enable connectivity to some, but to the internet, but some services. And in doing so, the way they did it this way has been in order to take care of their youth as they learn how to tackle the challenges that internet connectivity brings to their community, to the youth. So instead, for them to be able to observe and learn about them, they limited the access as they learn. And this is something that we are not really used to, like having a controlled exposure to the internet. We are in general overwhelmed by the access to the internet. So I think these are very key elements to accessing the relation between online and offline or internet and intranet settings. I hope this has contributed to answering your question, Sarvani.
Yes, thank you, Nico. Yeah.
May I ask a question, Sarvani?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I have two questions. Nico, thank you for that great presentation. I'm trying to understand better the time as currency that you were sharing, the social exchange and time banks. And how do they value the actual products again? I mean, I'd like to be clarified on that. And the second question has to do with where would you put e-commerce as well as services that would try to improve the productivity, the incomes, and the efficiency of production and value chain related needs of social enterprises and their stakeholders? Would this fall under number 4, meaningful extensions, federations, and cooperations? Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for your questions. So the time bank, the way they are, as far as I understand, because I'm not deeply involved in the project, but I definitely encourage you to check up on the manual that they have produced. I'm sure Sarvani can help us bring the link of the manual. You can find a very good, a very well produced documentation of the project in the Community Networks learning repository that APC has created. So this is cnlearning.apc.org. And in that repository, there's a manual that speaks about the social exchanges and time bank experience that the Colombian group has developed. But as far as I understand, there's a person in the community similar to the EDOS person that Sarvani has shared earlier, that helps the community members value their resources and their services time-wise. So in order for it to be offered at a rate that makes sense for the rest of the community, I guess then it goes back to offer and demand, I guess. But I'm not that involved in the process to share deeper thoughts. Sorry about that, Lisa. And in relation to sorry, in relation to the agriculture, sorry, can you repeat me the last question? It's too early in the morning.
Yeah, yes. No, because I was trying, I'm trying to locate some of the services that we are trying to develop in the new community network initiatives that we are supporting under the UPNIC supported project under ESIF. And they're really about services that would improve the efficiency, the productivity, and the incomes of social enterprises and their stakeholders in the value chains, right? So, and then there's also e-commerce, marketing platforms. So where would those fall in the categories of local services that you provided? Do they fall under number 4? Meaningful extensions, federations, and cooperations?
I would say that any service that provides service to activities that are happening that have a local benefit would go to the category 1 services that document and share existing knowledge and practices of the community for the local benefit.
But when they include value chains that have markets outside of the community, wouldn't they fall more on number 4? Because for example, we have the case of community-based coffee enterprises, and also we have organic vegetable production and marketing, and we also have crafts production and marketing in value chains that involve communities that produce such and markets outside of the communities. So, for example, the designers that G2 was talking about are actually designers that are outside the communities, and the markets of the products produced in the case of these crafts communities that are actually serving fair trade markets can be outside of the community in Bangladesh or even beyond Bangladesh. Yeah. So would they be more under 4?
It makes more sense to be under 4. Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, thank you. Now, because I think this is a useful categorization, and we're just wanting to appreciate it more. Thank you.
Yeah, it is still a work in progress as we are still reflecting around these last 5 years as we move ahead in getting a deeper into the work that we are doing. These reflections that I have shared are still a work in progress. So thank you for helping us also to reflect about them.
Thank you too.
Together.
Yes, in our community network, Dr. Joshi can tell a little more about the knowledge sharing platform that was developed for on local resource, on local biodiversity, local agricultural produce that the communities work on. So, Dr. Joshi, if you can tell a little bit about the knowledge sharing platform and its linkages with the e-commerce platform, Rapcall. So I think Dr. Joshi Rajeshri is not there. She has dropped out. Yeah. So we have a paper that has been published. I can share that paper with all of you all, which actually says how the knowledge sharing platform and its linkages with the e-commerce platform has been enabled. And several activities where we had sort of formulated certain activities alongside the knowledge sharing platform, like for example, Wild Food Festival. So in which the vegetables that grow only during the rainy season has been enabled. We tried to make, BIF has worked along with the indigenous community. So to work on Wild Food Festival, so that more people get to know about the biodiversity in that region. And not only the people from outside, but also the younger generation from within the community also gets to know about the biodiversity in and around the community. That was one of the things. And I think on the same lines, our China partners for the ICIF, ICA grantee, China partners are also working on an ecotourism and cultural repository, developing a cultural repository. So I think these are ways by which value-added services can be made available to the community. Any further questions from anyone?
I have another question.
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah. It's a question to our first speaker, Miss Arat. Is she still here?
Yes, I'm still
Yeah,
here.
Miss Arat. You mentioned about the development of an app, right? Which is
Yes.
actually what you use in order for the rice farmers and the corn farmers to use the services, right?
Yes.
And my question is, did you develop the app yourself? And is it possible for you to actually share that with other community networks that are trying to develop similar apps?
Yes, for the app, actually, for the Bangtan application, that is a mobile app, it have two parts. First is the mobile app, is can be run on Android mobile, and another part is like the box, distributed ledger system. That is this design for put on the Raspberry Pi and deploy in the community network. So both part where Interlab is the one who developed this one. And I think if anyone interested, maybe they can contact us to we can share how we develop and how they can apply for their community.
Thank you very much. I think you will at least get one inquiry from one of our partners, because they're actually starting to look at how they can develop a possible app that can improve the efficiency, the productivity and incomes of farmers in the organic vegetable value chain. I'm sorry that they're not here at the moment. I think maybe they were not able to come in today, but they were here yesterday. And it's good that you would be able to maybe share the technology so that they don't start from scratch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome.
So anyone else who has a query or a question?
I have a question for Vi in relation to the presentations.
Yes.
Vi Reyes, Vi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. One of the things that is very evident in all the presentations is the various services that are being offered by specific community networks. No, the way we're developing our project, we've tended to focus on value chain related services that the stakeholders in the value chains can use, right? But even in the field visits that we had before, it's obvious that communities have other needs, no, for the internet connection, right? For internet, and the value-added services can be more than that. Do you see a possibility of, developing other services? Not necessarily immediately, because of course you're focused on developing the interface for the community-based coffee enterprises and the farmers, as well as the other stakeholders now. But I was just wondering, no, what are your thoughts about a future scenario? Is there a possibility that these various services can actually be incorporated to make the provision of the service, the internet service, sustainable?
Yes, definitely. As I was listening to all the presentations, we're just on our first step. And our initial step is for the technology or for the community network itself, the principle of community network and digital connectivity and so on and so forth, to be meaningful or relevant for the farmers, not just the suppliers, which they play as their current supplying the green coffee beans to the facility, but as part really of the community network in digital form, in a platform wherein they will be able to use information if they want it filtered or if they want to be connected. That would really be up to them, as what I learned from Nico's presentation. That's a very interesting insight. I never looked at it that way, that a community would, reject reject connectivity. I totally respect that kind of behavior from the community. It really has to be, it will evolve. I am definitely positive that it will evolve, and the services which will be provided by the IoT and the Arduino being, we're using Arduino, and which we intend to be developed further, not just by CBVOR itself, but by the students themselves who are locals, who would see and appreciate community network and the technology that it provides. There you go. I hear the e-governance. These are all new to me right now, but I see that, wow. I just posted in Facebook right now that, my Sagada Coffee life as a farmer is digitally connected to the world. I'm starting it already. I will be promoting community network, digital transformation. It has to start somewhere. And if we initiate it and present it to the other members or to the other community-based coffee enterprises, I know they will join the bandwagon for community network. As one speaker said yesterday, we don't replicate, we multiply. Thank you.
Bai.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. I was hesitant to ask questions, but I'm listening. I'm really intent on listening and learning more. Thank you.
Thank you, Bai.
So the resources that Nico had told in his presentation about, and Lisa, that you asked on about the manual for social exchanges and community currencies. So I have put up the links on the chat in the chat window. So please have a look at them. So this is the CN learning repository of ours at the LockNet project, APC's LockNet project. And we store all the information in this learning repository. So you all can find quite a lot of case studies and manuals, which is based on real life implementation of projects on ground. Yeah.
I think the barter system would be very useful for indigenous communities. Yeah.
Yes.
And so that I'm really interested about the time banks and the social exchange, because that's something that I think needs to be well, I think some communities do use it informally, I think, but for us to actually incorporate it into our system of community networks is really going to be a step forward in respecting the cultural practices of indigenous communities that already use it. Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Thank
I think
you.
we can explore a little more and then sort of try to see which communities are still using. There are quite a lot of communities that still use local currencies. And yeah. Any other questions? Yes. Yeah. If not,
maybe we can also ask G2 to give her reflections on
Yes.
the possibility that maybe it's not just value-added services related to crafts communities, but we're talking here about many value-added services types, yeah?
Exactly.
That in order for us to make the community network initiatives sustainable, it may be worth exploring diversification. But I'm not saying it should be done now, no? Because I think we're starting on a specific model building process. But G2, can you say something about your thoughts on these diverse types of services being provided at the community, given your given what you've started in Bangladesh?
Thank you, Lisa, for this floor. So on the sustainability of value-added services, since we are working with crafts, we have already taken some steps on a test basis to test whether our approaches are sustainable or not. Like, since they are producing craft, there's a question of quality control and quality enhancement. So we have chosen one person from each of our 3 communities as mobilizer, and they are also the person who knows how to read, write, and operate. So they are also our network person for that community. So what's happening with our communities now, that since they have a savings group and they are earning, they pay with their savings group to the person, to the mobilizer, who is also the network person. And I think we are obviously open to add any other services as well. But I think we would have to let them grow it out themselves, as it happened in India, that the community members will find what to add themselves. For now, we have deployed what we think can be done, since we have the ability to provide help on craft value chain. And we also have deployed one networking device in one of our communities, and since it's on a test basis.
I think we lost G2. Sarbani, I think we lost G2.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, maybe back to you. Oh, no, she's reconnecting. But
Sorry, I got disconnected.
that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so the floor is completely open to our communities if they find any other services that they want to add using the network devices or the network that has been set up. I think it's completely fine, and I think we cannot rush anything, and it has to be something that they're doing.
Thank you, G2.
Okay.
Sarbani, back to you.
Yes, I completely agree what Jitu told, that what they are doing is exactly what the community network is about. We can just do a small handholding for enabling services for them, but what they are doing and how, because that is how they are going to take it forward from there. So Yeah, so I think we can't always do the hand holding. They should take the initiative and take it forward. Yeah. So is there someone else who would like to say something? We have some of our peers from Africa. If you would like to say something, we'll be very happy to hear about if there are some community network value-added services that you all are working in your networks. It will be nice if you can share. No? Yeah. Yeah. So how should we go about? Yeah.
I think Christy, are you there?
Yes, Christy is there.
Christy from IIRR.
Yes, Lisa,
Yes,
I'm here.
Christy. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts given the sharing today?
Yeah, there are really a lot of a lot of services that really comes from this connectivity. I mean, although on our part we have tested that on the coffee farmers here in Bailen. And I think it's really one of the tools that we can really utilize. The only limitations that we have there before was that we didn't have full control of the infrastructure at the same time with the technology. Although the partner that we had before shared with us the gathered data and the information which our farmer partners were able to use somehow, but it was short term, I think, and it was really just a research thing, and they were just testing the technology then for and involving the farmer partners of IIRR here in Bailen. But yeah, as I've mentioned earlier yesterday, Lisa, that I think this tool can still be improved. It can still be expanded to more value-added services that the farmers or even our fisher folks and women and youth can really make use of in the future, because I think this is really a digital age, and I think we have to also educate this our local farmers, our rural people to really engage in such, so that they can also be part of this great development in the future.
So maybe Christy, one of the things that we were exploring yesterday is if IIRR can actually come in as a partner for the setting up or seeding, what we call seeding of community networks in a structured way, no? Because actually there are programs that we are spearheading that promote actively promoting the setting up of community networks in a structured way, considering all the global experiences that have been made. No? So maybe if IIRR can come in as a partner in a formal structured project that can set up community networks in your climate smart villages, that would be that would be a very interesting endeavor, right? I mean, because you're already doing climate smart agriculture in a scaled up way in several villages, and how connectivity can improve the work that you're doing through
Mhm.
value-added services would really be interesting, right?
Yep. And I think, Lisa, it's not going to be just in the Philippines, because I think our other Asia country programs would also be interested in this activity, in this project. So maybe I can also open this up with Miss Emily for discussion, so that it can be also scaled out and be shared to our maybe Cambodia. And I know Cambodia and Myanmar program of IIRR have already started a similar endeavor in this Internet of Things sort of a type of activities, and it's really involve our climate smart villages. So I think we can also make further discussions with that, so that yeah, we can formalize these things, and we can do this partnership.
Yes, we will surely follow you up and make
Yes.
sure that you become a partner in this endeavor. Yeah, back to you, Sir Bani. I
Okay.
think Vi has a
Thank you.
question or is raising her hand.
Yes, I
Thank
go
you.
ahead,
Thank you,
Vi.
sir. Yes. Hi, Sir Bani. Thank you. I was just, well, actually, I really just wanted to share the, what Nico earlier said about the community's acceptance of the internet connectivity is sort of mind blowing for me, because I think we, just like what the lady from IRRI I think we have, yes, Lisa, we have to do this from the perspective also of the communities or the farmers, that especially well, in relation to, relative to our project, the coffee farmers themselves, or the communities. I think we really have to do some orientation with them, deeper orientation, knowledge, acceptance of the connectivity itself and what it can do for them. Before we really do any major plans, because I believe that we should really look at it from their perspective. And because when we had our initial orientation, the basic, and when we are doing now the, well, we do regularly visit the communities right now, and we have been getting several feedbacks. Well, most of them are good, but some of them are how do we benefit from it? Oh, this is just for the youth, but basically we receive positive feedback, but they say that this project will really be more relevant for the future. They acknowledge that it is for the future, and it will be the youth who will really actively participate in the project. And we actually look forward to this acceptance with the youth coming in, because anyway, we really intend for the youth to be very active in the value chain of coffee. So I was just sharing that thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Vi, for that very inspirational sentences that you just mentioned. And I think that's the way to go forward. That community networks are actually thought of as for the next generation, especially because I remember when I went to set up the community network in the location in where I set up the community network, the first discussion that I had with a few old women in the village is that they asked me, why have I come to the village? And I told them that just for an interaction about someone had called me over there to look into the connectivity needs and things of that sort. So the first question that those women asked me is that, would your connectivity take away the youth from the village to the cities? If it is going to take away the youth from the village to the cities, we don't want that connectivity. We want our youth to stay within the village, in the village, and help us in developing the village. So that was a sentence I remember many years ago, but that still rings very much in my ears till now, that she told me this sentence. So yeah, with that note, I think we can go towards the closing of this learning session, and I would request Lisa to give her closing remarks. Over
Thank
to
you,
you, Lisa.
thank you, Sarbani. And I actually learned a lot from this session and from the session yesterday. And as you know, the Institute for Social Entrepreneurship in Asia, which is doing a model building project of community networks linked to social enterprise and local economic development, was actually the partners, from Bangladesh, from China, and from the Philippines, who are new in community network building and seeding. We're actually wanting to have this learning session in order for us to to get a sense about the extent of initiatives as well as models that we can learn from and adapt in our efforts to build community networks that are linked to social enterprises and local economic development. And this was a wonderful learning session, these 2 days. And today we actually saw many things that can be adapted, and the partnerships that can be made between community networks, network stakeholders in other countries and our partners in the model building project that I was talking about. I was particularly enthused with the mobile app and the distributed ledger system that can actually be used, I think, with by our partners in the organic value chain. The eDost that I think G2 from FACE in Bangladesh said may be very useful for them. And also the time banks and social exchange that was shared by Nico from the APC experience in Latin America. Not only this, I just picked this up as top of mind experiences from that we can learn from and maybe adapt in our local contexts. Because if there's one thing that is also very clear, and everything needs to be contextualized, right? It's not just a matter of replication, but as Vi rightly said, picking up from yesterday, multiplication and maybe before that, adaptation of what has already been done so that the local context could be fully appreciated. I'm also very happy that I think the learning that we had, one of the other takeaways, I think, is that for us in the model building and of community networks linked to social enterprise and local economic development stakeholders who have started community networks, I think it's mind-blowing to know that services linked to improving the productivity, incomes, and efficiency of our social enterprises and our partners in agricultural value chains are not the only types of value-added services that we can actually explore in the future, that we can actually add on many different types, and Nico mentioned at least 4 types of value-added services, serving community needs to make us community networks sustainable. So lastly, I'd like to thank everybody who came to this session. I think we will be sharing the recording of this learning session through our website. So I'm sure that others will benefit from it as well. And I just wanted to end by inviting you to the next session on sustainability of community connectivity, complementary connectivity initiatives that the Institute for Social Entrepreneurship in Asia, APC, as well as the APNIC Foundation will be co-organizing during the Asia-Pacific Regional Internet Governance Forum that will actually be held in Brisbane from August 28 to 31. And during that APR-IGF, the Asia-Pacific Regional Internet Governance Forum, we will be having a forum on sustainability of complementary connectivity initiatives. That's actually what we now call Community Networks plus, no? Because some community networks have evolved to other models and are now better called complementary connectivity initiatives. So we are going to be having this session on August 29 at 2 to 3 p.m. in Brisbane. I will be going there. It will be 2 to 3 p.m. in Brisbane, but it will also be virtual. It will also be shared virtually. So it will be blended. This means it's 12 p.m. in Beijing, Manila, and also 11 a.m., I think, in Hanoi, in Vietnam, as well as Bangkok, maybe. So we would like to invite you to that next session where we explore the sustainability of complementary connectivity initiatives as a theme during the Asia-Pacific Regional Internet Governance Forum. With that, thank you very much for everybody's active participation, and we look forward to your participation in other activities organized by the Technological Innovations for Sustainable Development platform that APC as well as ISEA are co-convening in the Asia-Pacific region. Thank you very much. And thank you very much again for the speakers, no? The speakers for this session, Ms. Sarat, Dr. Joshi, and Nico. Thank you very much for your inputs and for the wonderful presentations where we learned a lot from, and that became the take-off points for the discussion this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.